Hello guys, welcome again to another episode of Pinoy in Australia. So what we have guys is this Holden Astra guys, year 2000 year model with the engine of 1.8 liters which is said 18XE. So the issue of this vehicle guys is long cranking. It needs you to turn on the ignition to start position for a very long time before it start, but once it is start, the engine runs very sluggish and you need to step on the accelerator pedal so the engine will not shut off. And if you keep pressing the accelerator pedal very hard, a fault code will show up in the ECM and it tells that there's problem with the cylinder number 3 misfire and also cylinder number 1 misfire. Before it's only cylinder number 3. What I did is I swap up the spark plug of cylinder number 1 to cylinder number 3. So right now it's registering two fault, misfire on cylinder number 1 and misfire on cylinder number 2. Only what happened is it made an additional fault. Before the fault is only misfire on cylinder number 3. But those fault will only show up if you press hard on the accelerator pedal, because once you made the vehicle runs, you need to step on the gas on the accelerator pedal so the engine will not turn off, will not stall. So my suspect guys is we have a faulty crankshaft position sensor. So I don't want to concentrate on those faults, the misfire on cylinder number 3 and number 1, because those faults can be generated if there's a problem with the crankshaft position sensor guys. One symptoms of crankshaft position sensor is long cranking guys before it start. Or sometimes it cause the symptom is no start. It crank but it doesn't start. In this particular year model guys, this is year 2000. Usually those engine manufactured those years, they didn't have capability of diagnosing if there is problem with the crankshaft position sensor or on the crankshaft position sensor. But the newer engine right now guys, if there's a problem with the crankshaft position sensor and camshaft position sensor, the ECM can detect the problem. But in this particular unit guys, I believe it cannot detect if there's a problem with the crankshaft position sensor. So the first thing what we need to do guys to find out whether my suspicion that we have a faulty crankshaft position sensor is we're going to start the engine and we are going to have a look with the needle of the engine RPM. So if during the cranking we don't have movement in the needle, the next step that we are going to do is we are going to put oscilloscope on the crankshaft position sensor and we will check the waveform of the signal of the crankshaft position sensor. Okay guys, let's see whether the faults will show up, because usually the fault only show up if the vehicle is sitting for maybe a day. Then if you start it, it's very hard to start, but once you made it start, made it running, made it warm, every time you turn it off, it start fine. So it only happened first day in the morning guys. So okay guys, let's try whether the fault will show up. Okay guys, what I'm going to do first guys before I go checking the waveform of the crankshaft position sensor, I would like to check the pressure of the fuel pump. As far as I know, it's producing pressure, but I want to make sure whether we are getting enough pressure to operate the vehicle. Okay guys, let me get the key. So the R gauge is a little bit far, but what I'm going to do is I will tell you how much is the pressure on the system. I'll try to adjust the focus. Let's see whether whether you can see what's brighter, guys. We cannot see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna tell you the actual pressure that I'm seeing on the gauge. So right now is the pressure is somewhere in 50 psi. So it's holding on 50 psi, guys. Then I'm going to start it, and let's see whether it can hold that pressure, guys. So that's 50 psi, the red bar, guy, the red gauge. This is the psi. We're going to look on the blue gauge, guys. That is our pressure, but on the blue gauge is a red parameters. That red parameters, that is our psi, guys. So right now it's on 50 psi. So let's see. So let's go more than 50. Yeah. So let's start it. So it's starting right now, guys. It's holding 50 psi. Fault didn't show up, guys. So we will try later whether the vehicle will play up. Okay, guys, I will try to restart it again. Let's see whether the fault will show up. Everything is okay right now, guys. No fault showing up. But right now we have a check engine. I'm going to check whether the misfire on cylinder number 3 had show up. Okay, guys, I'm scanning the vehicle right now. And let's check whether the misfire on cylinder number 3 and number 1 show up, guys. So that's the fault that keep coming on this vehicle. Live data, let's go to DTC. Where should I go? Let's see. It's a little bit hard to do the video while we are checking a vehicle. It's back. So where is that fault code? DTC here. I press the wrong button, guys. So cylinder number 2 misfire. So misfire is moving before cylinder number 3, before cylinder number 3, then it goes to 3 and 1 and 3. Now it moves to cylinder number 2. So we cannot rely on this misfire, guys. So there is something causing the cylinder to misfire, and I think it's the crankshaft position sensor, guys. So let's delete this one. Yes. So those fuel level sensor and AC refrigerant, I'm going to fix that in the future. This one, guys, the fuel level sensor is the sending unit, guys. I already know what's wrong with it. I already replaced the first sending unit. It worked for a while, then it comes back again. Because the fuel sending unit that I had purchased is second hand, and I think the sending unit that I have purchased is also a faulty component. It's come from eBay, guys. So I will try to check whether I can make the variable resistor on that one operational, guys, by adjusting the reading needle, guys. So let's try to start the vehicle right now, guys, and let's see what will gonna happen. Right now what we have is 50 psi, guys, on the blue gauge, guys. On the outer parameters, that is psi, guys. Right now the needle is on the 50 psi reading. So let's start it, guys. So right now, guys, it's reading okay, guys. As I told you, once it starts, everything is normal. But if the vehicle is sitting for a day and you start it, fault will show up again. So I'm suspecting that there's something wrong with either in the crankshaft position sensor or camshaft position sensor. So right now I know that the fuel pump is working fine. We have enough pressure. So what we're going to check right now is the next step. What we're going to do, that, guys, is to check the signal, the waveform, the crankshaft position sensor and the camshaft position sensor. We're going to check whether it is the cause of long crank and sometimes no start. Okay, guys, the next part of the video, guys, is the process of getting the waveform or checking the waveform of the crankshaft position sensor. So during this time, guys, the fault is present. The engine cranks but it won't start. So observe the cranking of the engine, and the sound is like there is no firing coming from the spark plug, and it seems that the fuel injector is not also delivering fuel. So my suspicion, guys, is the crankshaft position sensor is faulty, guys. So continue watching the video, guys. Guys, start. Stop. Okay, crank. Okay, okay, crank. Stop. Okay, guys, our vehicle is running right now, guys, and this is the waveform of crankshaft sensor. As you can see, guys, there are some glitches on the crankshaft position sensor. See those high peak that you can see that high peak wave supposed to be not there, guys. So it means that there is a problem with our crankshaft position sensor. So I'm going to replace the crankshaft position sensor, but I'm not sure, guys, whether that glitch there is the one causing the hard starting or long cranking, guys. But that big glitch there, guys, is not supposed to be there. So let's post the data. Okay, guys, See those long line there, guys? That one and that one. It's not supposed to be there. So it means that there is a problem with our crankshaft position sensor. So I'm going to replace the crankshaft position sensor, guys, and hopefully it will fix the problem, guys. Okay, guys, let's talk about the pressure of our fuel system. So what we have here is 50 psi. We have a very good pressure, guys, when it's come to fuel system. So during the cranking, that pressure, guys, never drops down. So we have no issue with our fuel pressure. So I'm suspecting that this crankshaft sensor is the one giving the problem, guys. So I'm suspecting that during cranking, the computer get confused because of this glitch, guys, and I think the spark plug in the fuel injector is not working properly during starting, guys, because of this glitch. As you can see, guys, even there is a glitch on the crankshaft position sensor. Look at the engine, guys. It's running smoothly, guys. Very smooth, guys. So the only issue is during cranking, guys. During starting, it cranks very long and it's very difficult to start. It seems that the spark plug is not firing and the fuel injector is not firing too. So one particular component that give commands to the computer to operate the injector and the spark plug is the crankshaft position sensor. So because of this, guys, I'm going to replace the crankshaft position sensor, guys. This is the condition of the vehicle right now, guys. It's running fine. Once you made it start, it's running fine. But during first start in the morning, it's very hard to start. It get very long cranking. If you keep cranking, vehicle will start, but it start for a very long time. So that is the issue with the vehicle right now. So if I'm going to turn off the vehicle, as you can see, the engine is running. So the idle is somewhere in 800. I'm going to turn it up, guys. So then I'm going to start it, guys. There is no issue, guys. Okay? So it only show up during first day in the morning. Then turn it up again. Start it. So there is no issue once the vehicle is running properly. So once the vehicle become warm, there's no problem when it comes to starting. So only the first start in the morning. So I suspect that the crankshaft sensor, so based on the waveform that you have seen in the scope, there is a problem with the crankshaft position sensor. So the first thing I'm going to do is to replace the crankshaft position sensor. Then if the fault doesn't disappear, I'm going to check the condition of the battery and the starter, because if the starter won't rotate the engine on the required speed, the engine will not start. So it need to rotate the vehicle faster so the engine will start. Especially in diesel engine, there is a required speed before the engine start, especially on the common rail, because it won't build the pressure in the common rail if the engine is not running if the start is not rotating fast, or the starter doesn't rotate the engine very fast. So my first step right now, replace the crankshaft position sensor. If it didn't fix the problem, I'm going to check the condition of the battery. But if I load test the battery, it's somewhere in 60%, guys. But the problem is I'm not sure how accurate is the load the battery load tester, because this battery is 7 years, guys. This vehicle had been stuck in the yard for 7 years, so maybe the battery is losing a charge, and that doesn't start the vehicle properly, so it doesn't have enough current to push the starter to rotate the engine fast. Okay, guys, right now, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to order the crankshaft position sensor. Okay, guys, that is the outcome of the inspection or checking the waveform of the crankshaft position sensor. As we can see, guys, there is a glitch on the crankshaft position sensor, and that is the sign that there is something wrong with the crankshaft position sensor. And maybe during cranking, guys, the crankshaft position sensor is not producing enough voltage or waveform to make the ECM give command to the fuel injector and the ignition coil to fire to make the engine runs. So if there is no signal, a proper signal from the crankshaft position sensor, the ECM will not make the fuel injector and the ignition coil to work properly. So during the time that I have managed to make the engine run, as you can see, there is a glitch on the waveform of the crankshaft position sensor. So that glitch reached around 15 volts. The crankshaft position sensor supposed to produce voltage somewhere in 5 volts, but that one is it produces a glitch that reached up to 15 volts. So there is really something wrong with our crankshaft position sensor. So that's glitch might be the indication that during hard cranking in the morning and hard starting and long cranking, guys, is caused by the weak crankshaft position sensor. So it's not producing enough voltage or waveform to make the ECM work and give order to the ignition coil and fuel injector to operate. So I'm going to order the parts, guys. So wait for the part 2, guys. So if ever after putting the new crankshaft position sensor, guys, and it didn't make the problem disappear, my next step is to put a battery, guys, coming from another vehicle, because that battery mounted on that vehicle is 7 years, guys, because that vehicle is sitting on the yard for 7 years. I didn't use that vehicle for 7 years, so it's been stuck there for 7 years. So usually the life of the battery is 2 years, maximum 3 years. So if you have expensive battery, it really will reach up to 5 years. So I already load test the battery on the past, and it has 60% reserve capacity. So 60% is still good, guys, but I'm not sure how accurate that load tester that I use. So the best way to confirm it is if the problem didn't disappear after putting a new crankshaft position sensor, I will put a good battery on it. So if putting the new battery on the vehicle and still didn't fix the problem, my next move, guys, is to check the carbon brush of the starter motor. Usually starter motor have 4 carbon brush, And if one or two of the carbon brass is not sitting properly on the slip ring of the commutator, the starter will not meet the required speed to make the engine start. Same thing too on the battery. The battery doesn't have right amount of reserve capacity of current to start the engine. There will be hard starting and long cranking, guys, especially in the diesel, guys, in common rail diesel. If there is not enough speed being produced by starter because of faulty starter or weak battery, the engine will not reach the right pressure in the common rail to make the fuel system work properly, guys, because there is a required pressure for the common rail to operate, guys. So that computer is monitoring the pressure in the common rail. But in our case, guys, this is common rail gasoline engine. So that is the plan, guys. Replace the crankshaft position sensor, and I have no doubt that there is something wrong with it. I have no doubt that the crankshaft position sensor is faulty, guys, because there is a glitch. That's an indication there is something wrong with the crankshaft position sensor. Then after putting the crankshaft position sensor and it picks up problem, guys, that's good. But if the problem is still in there, I will check the battery, put battery on it. I'm going to borrow the battery of my other car, and if it fixes the problem, so that's battery. If it didn't fix the problem by putting battery, I will check the starter, the carbon brush starter, whether the 4 carbon brush is sitting properly or the carbon brush have enough length. Maybe the carbon brush is already worn out. So that is a plan, guys. So wait for the part 2 of this video, guys. If you're not yet subscribed to our channel, guys, please press the subscribe button. Please press that like button. Please press that notification bell so you will be notified every time I do a video, guys. So for now, guys, goodbye. See you in the next video. Wait for that part 2, guys.